Imagine Europe in 1914, a continent of immense wealth, powerful empires, and centuries-old traditions. Monarchs sat on thrones, alliances wove a complex web of treaties, and yet, under the surface, tensions simmered. Then, in Sarajevo, a single shot was fired. A young man named Gavrilo Princip assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary, the heir to a powerful empire. On that day, no one knew the world would change forever. But within weeks, nearly all of Europe would be at war. By the time the fighting ended 4 years later, over 17 million people would die, 20 million more wounded, and empires that had lasted for centuries would vanish. And yet, it didn't have to happen. World War I was never supposed to happen. Today, we'll explore exactly how a local assassination escalated into a global catastrophe, what went wrong at every step, and why humanity's mistakes repeated themselves in horrifying ways. Europe was a powder keg in 1914. On the surface, things seemed stable. Nations traded goods, diplomats negotiated treaties, and life in the capitals of London, Berlin, Vienna, and Paris went on. But underneath, tension brewed. The major powers were Britain, France, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia, and Italy. Each had reasons to feel threatened by the others. Nationalism was rising. Empires were fragile. Leaders were obsessed with prestige and honor. Alliances were supposed to prevent war. The Triple Alliance, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy, was matched by the Triple Entente, France, Russia, and Britain. In theory, these alliances were a balance of power designed to deter aggression. But in reality, they created a rigid, interconnected web. One small spark could, and did, ignite a continent-wide blaze. Military buildup made this web even more dangerous. Germany and Britain raced to build massive navies. France and Germany modernized armies with machine guns, heavy artillery, and rail systems for rapid mobilization. Austria-Hungary and Russia prepared for potential Balkan conflicts. Humans, in their overconfidence, believed more weapons equal more security. But history shows us the opposite. Preparation can create inevitability. The more ready a nation is for war, the more likely it will find itself in one. June 28, 1914. Archduke Franz Ferdinand and his wife, Sophie, visited Sarajevo, Bosnia. Their visit was meant to assert Austro-Hungarian authority in the Balkans, a region simmering with nationalist movements. Enter Gavrilo Princip, a 19-year-old nationalist. Armed with a pistol and fueled by his belief in Serbian independence, he targeted the Archduke as a symbol of oppression. The shots killed Franz Ferdinand and Sophie in broad daylight. At first, it seemed like a regional incident, something contained to the Balkans. But Austria-Hungary saw this as an opportunity to punish Serbia and assert dominance. They issued an ultimatum that demanded near-impossible concessions. Serbia agreed to most, but not all. Then came the domino effect. Austria-Hungary assumed Russia would back down. Germany promised unconditional support to Austria-Hungary, a blank check encouraging aggression. Russia mobilized to defend Serbia. Germany declared war on Russia. Germany invaded Belgium to attack France. Britain declared war to protect Belgium. In a matter of weeks, Europe was fully engulfed in war. The alliances that were meant to prevent war instead ensured it would spread. Every nation had obligations. Every obligation created pressure. Every decision forced another. Austria-Hungary's desire for revenge, combined with Germany's blank check, meant that diplomacy was no longer possible. Russia mobilized, and Germany followed. France and Britain were drawn in automatically. Leaders believed there was still time for negotiation, but military plans like Germany's Schlieffen Plan forced rapid action. Once troops were moving, trains rolling toward the front, and artillery positioned, war became inevitable. This was a perfect example of how rigid systems, combined with human pride, create disaster. No one wanted a world war, but all the moving parts made it unavoidable. World War I introduced the world to industrial-scale slaughter. Over 17 million dead, 20 million wounded. Trench warfare defined the Western Front. Soldiers lived in mud, water, lice, and rats. The stench was constant. Shelling was relentless. Disease spread like wildfire. Life expectancy in the front line was sometimes measured in weeks. Technology amplified the horror. Machine guns made traditional charges suicidal. Long-range artillery destroyed soldiers and towns alike. Poison gas caused agonizing deaths. Tanks and airplanes changed warfare permanently. Battles like the Somme and Verdun resulted in over 1 million casualties each, often with minimal territorial gains. These battles were grinding, attritional, and utterly devastating. Civilians suffered too. Famine, displacement, and economic collapse were widespread. Cities were destroyed. Families lost entire generations. The trauma reshaped European societies for decades. Let's take a closer look at some key battles to understand why so many died for so little. Battle of the Marne, 1914, stopped Germany from capturing Paris. It showed how even the most confident plans could fail spectacularly. Battle of Verdun, 1916, lasted 10 months. Over 700,000 casualties, minimal gains. Soldiers endured unimaginable suffering. Battle of the Somme, 1916, first major battle to introduce tanks. First day, 57,000 British soldiers died. Charges across no man's land against machine guns turned into slaughter. The lesson? Technology outpaced strategy, and human lives became expendable to rigid planning and hubris. The war destroyed empires and redrew the map of Europe. Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, German, and Russian empires collapsed. New nations formed: Poland, Czechoslovakia, Yugoslavia. The Treaty of Versailles, 1919, punished Germany harshly, sowing resentment and economic hardship. This fragile peace set the stage for World War II. Humanity failed to learn from its mistakes, repeating cycles of pride, vengeance, and miscalculation. Soldiers endured trench horror, shell shock, and poison gas attacks. Civilians fled cities, watched loved ones die, and faced famine. Nurses worked day and night, witnessing unimaginable suffering. Art, literature, and photography captured the trauma, from All Quiet on the Western Front to haunting photographs of the front lines. The human cost of mistakes, pride, and overconfidence was permanent. World War I was never supposed to happen, and yet, humanity repeated the same cycle again in World War II. As we look at today's world, the lessons remain. Small mistakes can escalate globally. Pride can destroy diplomacy. Alliances, if rigid, can trap nations. Technology magnifies error. The assassination in Sarajevo is more than history. It's a warning. If you enjoyed this deep dive into World War I, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next history adventure. Till next time, take care.